Hello everyone and welcome to our webinar on Active Directory Breach, Lateral Movement and Privilege Escalation. I'm Nandini Bharadwaj, the Operating Officer at Cyber Warfare Labs and your host for today's session. Let's get started. Okay, before we begin, I want to introduce ourselves. CW Labs is a global infosec company shaping the future of cybersecurity learning with a presence across UK, US, and India. Our mission is simple: make cybersecurity practical and accessible. We do this through our two powerful divisions. Number first is niche cyber range labs, real world hands on cyber exercises. And number second is continuous learning Infinity platform. It's a continuously learning hub built for modern cyber pros. Additionally, CWL also provide customized on-site training for organizations and accept bulk orders for corporate upscaling. For more inquiries or more details, feel free to reach out us at support@cyberwarfare.live. Okay, so I think we can move on to next slide. Let me introduce to our speaker of today's session, that is Subhash Murugan. He's a security researcher with an expertise in red teaming operations, network security, cloud infrastructure, and Linux system. He's also passionate about researching adversarial tactics, techniques, and procedure, and frequently experiments in his home lab. So we are excited to hear his insights for today's session. So that's all about the speaker. And dear participants, as promised, five lucky winners will get the access of ADRTS, that is AD Red Team Specialist course. It's the latest launch course as per their entry comments. So if anyone who haven't participated in the giveaway, I will drop the link in the message box, and along with that, at the end of the webinar, you will receive your attendance certificate along with the video recording of the webinar. So stay tuned for that. And thank you for being part of our webinar, and we look forward for your continuous participation. So without further ado, I would like to Subhash to take over, and let's get started. Also, Happy New Year, guys.
Hi guys. Okay, let's start our sessions. In this session, we covered the post-exploitation phases after we get into the internal network initial access. Let's start with this. In the Active Directory, what is Active Directory? Active Directory is the entity system that runs most corporate Windows network. It stores users, groups, computers, servers, and all authentication rules. When you log in into your computer, office laptop, access files on the shared drivers are connected to the printers, and all of them are approved and controlled by the AD. AD is a central authority that decides who you are, what you can do, which systems you can access, what resources you are allowed to touch. Because AD controls everything, whoever controls AD controls the entire organization. Why attackers target AD? If someone gains admin access, domain admin access, they can log in into any computer, reset passwords, disable antivirus, change group policies, access confidential data, move into the cloud connected system. It's basically a skeleton key for whole network. What is post exploitation? When we get into the network, we want to exploit some web application vulnerabilities or phishing link. With that, we can able to get a initial access. After that initial access, we want to increase our privilege escalation from normal user to higher users, and you want to stay hidden in the networks because the blue teamers will detect and they will block our networks, and we want to spread all over the other networks, and we want to locate the sensitive data and maintain persistence inside the networks. Why privilege escalation matters? With the privilege escalation only, we can able to turn off the security features, and we can able to become a domain admin, and commands, whatever commands we want to execute, we can execute in the Active Directory environment. In privilege escalation, types of privilege escalation, there is two type of privilege escalation: local privilege escalation and domain privilege escalation. In local privilege escalation, it's a normal standalone Windows machine. In that machine, we get an initial access to the normal user. We can able to privilege to the higher user, but in that system only we can able to uh, take access to the another machines or another networks. But in domain privilege exclusion, it is in the active AD. We can able to accelerate to another networks or another forest and another domain. It's the types of privilege exclusion. Common local privilege techniques are we can able to use a peak service permission, DLL hijacking. It's a DLL file in the Windows. We can able to replace the DLL file with our malicious file. We can able to execute that file with the DLL hijacking and the stored credentials in the Windows. Or we can able to dump the credentials which are stored in the last memory. Or it's a outdated Oh yes, now we can use the kernel exploitations, or we can able to schedule the misconfigured task in that machine. Common domain privilege exclusion. In the domain privilege exclusion, in the Active Directory, it's a main. It's Kerberos. It's an authentication protocol used in the Active Directory. With that only we can able to try the vulnerabilities with the Kerberos protocols. By using the Kerberos thing, we can able to dump the credentials and we can able to crack the credentials with the offline tools like John or John the Ripper like that. In auth poisoning, we can able to exploit the ACL permissions like access control. We can able to add some members to the another group. We can able to add the normal users to the admin group with that. After that, we can use the if there is a SQL server is running in the Active Directory, we can able to access that SQL server with the scheduled task. And also there is a service running in the Active Directories like known as Active Directory service. We can able to abuse that service because in the certificate also we are using to authenticate some users. We can able to use that service certificate service. We can able to abuse that service. We can able to get the privilege exclusion in the Active Directory. Also, we can able to use constraint delegation based attacks like constraint delegation, resource based constraint delegation, and constraint delegations. Like that, we can able to perform the domain privilege exclusion in Active Directory. After that, we want to go with the lateral movement. The lateral movement, we get into the one domain, but we want to get into the another machines or another users. We want to reach a domain controller. For that, we can able to use enumerate to like SMB shares. We can able to access a SMB shares. In that SMB shares, there is a scheduled task. We can able to access that scheduled task. With that scheduled task, we can able to add the malicious content. We can able to get into the another users, or we can able to get the another users credentials from data, or we can able to pivot into from one network into another networks. Like that, we can able to do the lateral movement. ADCS. It's an Active Directory certificate service. It's used to authenticate the users based on the certificates, users, computers, services, and VPN files and HTTPS. It uses a certificates, but we can able to exploit that service certificates. These are the known certificates based attacks. These are the most common certificates based attacks. ECS, ECSC1. We can able to use later any user request a certificate. We can able to access another users without their permission. Even we can able to use the certificates of domain admin. For in ESC2 misconfiguration, users can approve their own certificates by their own request. ECSC3, we can use attackers can modify the certificate settings and templates. ECA4, it's like a golden ticket attacks. We can able to forge a Kerberos TGT with ECS ESC1. It allows user to forge a TGT with the Kerberos TGT. ESC5, we can able to impersonate another users or service. ESC6 requires certification behalf of another users. ESC7, we can use a weak ACL's configuration in the environment. We can use that modify the certificates. We can use that misconfiguration to exploit the ECA 7. In ECA 18, unsafe settings against say using the old templates or outdated templates. With the templates, we can able to exploit the ADCS. Next, now we go with the demo with the it's a ADRTS lab with one path. It's a ADRTS lab contains two paths. One contains we will approach with that phishing, and it contains a web application vulnerabilities. In this lab, we get an initial access with the web application vulnerability. This is the website we can. It was an ICS. It was runs in the ICS server. With that ICS server, we found it was vulnerable to deserialization attacks. So with that vulnerability, we get the initial access to the machine. Let we will enumerate the how we can able to approach the post exploitation after this. What are the techniques we can use to do the lateral movement and privilege exclusion in this lab? Now we are in ICS. It's a web shell we get from the web application vulnerabilities. Let's we will try to accelerate some any other users we can able to access that. So for that we can able to start with the enumeration with like we can use the win piece to find the OS, find the vulnerabilities with the link piece tools. We can use that, but in this lab we will start with if we can able to find some any stored credentials in the Windows machine. We use this query to search the locations, software locations. What are the softwares running in this machine? Let's find here we can find the different telecom app is a application. So we will try to find any there is any stored credentials in the telecom file. So we want to use the like Regenex query. We can able to see there is a encrypted password, but we want to decrypt that password to do the another attacks. So we want to decrypt that passwords. So we will decrypt the password with that PowerShell. We will load the required assemblies to decrypt that password. After that we will read the encrypted block from that registry. Next, we will store that encrypted in the encrypted string. Now we get the decoded password. So with that password, we can able to try. We can able to access any other services, or we can able to access any other users. Let's try with this. Or we are using. Let's start with the enumerations to find any vulnerable certificate services are running in that machine. So we want that to know that we want a certified tool. So I will go with that tool. For that I activate my environment. We use the find to what are the services, what are the ticket certificates are running. The username was tell admin at our domain name, and we will give the password we find we decrypted. We'll give the TCP and we search for the vulnerable certificates. So we give like this. We the certified tools use the LDAP to search the vulnerable certificates. So we are using that. It takes some time to we give the incorrect password. That's why it's not work. The now we replace with the correct password. Now the NTLM LDAP hash will be authenticated successfully. It's searching for the vulnerable templates. Okay. Now the outputs are came. We can able to find the what type of templates they are using, badges, and the certificate authority domain name. And also we can able to see the vulnerabilities in EC1. So we are going to exploit that EC1 to get into the admin account. For that admin account, we want a SAID ID of that admin account. It is a security unified ID generated by the Active Directory. So for that we use RPC client. Now we'll go to the domain name. Tell admin the user we going to impersonate with this vulnerability and hyphen password. This time we will copy the correct password. Next we want to give the TCP lookup names administrator. With that we can able to get the admin SUID. With that SUID we are going to request a certificate for domain admin. So again we are going to use a certificate to slash deeper. We are going to request a certificates and target the DCIP. Next we find the temp certificate. Next we find the templates that used in that AD environment, badge, badges, We are going to give the user ID. We are going to request for the certificate domain name. -SID. Here we want to give the SID we found for the admin. There is some mistake with the commands, so we go with this. Replace the password. We replace our SUID. Now we will copy. It takes time to get the certificates. It comes with an extension of PFX. Okay. Yeah. What happens now? We want to add the etc host. Now we get the certificates admin.pfx. With that certificate, we can able to authenticate that user. So to authenticate, we are going to certify -AD auth with pfx -pfx admin certificate DCIP. With this command, we can able to get the NTLM hashes of the admin. Okay, now it shows the Kerberos vision error. For that, to fix this error, what happens now? The DC time and our machine time was different. That's why it takes this. So we use NTP update with the DCIP. It will update the time. So now we can get the credentials. Now we get the NTLM hashes. With that NTLM hashes, try to explain we can able to get any shared for files or things. So first we start with the assembly client. Username administrator. We will give the NTLM hashes. Want to give inside the quotes, and we want to give the authentication type with the WT NTS. Now we can able to access the shared folders. So we will try to enumerate the any important files are there. So let's we try to access the C folder. For that same command, want to give the space slash. Okay, we want to remove that, yeah, because we don't need to list the shared folders. We want get into the assembly. Okay, now we get into the assembly shares. Let's see the AR. Let's we try to enumerate any scheduled tasks are assigned in this machine. So in the to see the scheduled task, we want to go to the folder Windows slash system 32. In Windows, we want to use this slash. Okay, now we are in TAR. Here we can able to find some files, exchange mailbox program accessible, create explore shell. These are normal, but this was different. So we will download this file and see what is inside the file. For that, we want to use get file name. We download the file. Let's see. We open that file with mousepad. In this file, there is a scheduled task to run this impersonate.ps1 file. So we will download that file also. We can find any important things inside that file. So again, we want to go to assembly shell, go to the home directory. That file was located in the user administrator downloads directory. So we want to go into that directory, users, administrator, yeah, downloads. Now we can able to see that for file. So again, we want to download this file and see what are the things inside that file. Okay, now download that file. Can we open that file with the mouse pad? Select PS1. Here there is a file related to mailbox migration, automated mail content migration utilities. Also, we can able to find the credentials, domain name, and log path in this file. So let's try with this service account and this service password to we can able to get any mails from that user. For that, before we want to check it, and this user can have the impersonate access to the admin mailbox or delegation rights to these admin boxes. For that, we are using some script. So I will share that script, but I already have that script. Now we open that script. In this script, we can able to find where it's having the delegated rights or having impersonate rights to this user. So we want to replace with our credentials. We find in this impersonate.ps1 and save that file. Now we'll run and check where it's working or not. Before that, I'll activate my environment. There is no delegated rights to this admin account, so let's wait. Before that, we want to add the host name in the etc, because now we are going to use xservice.telcore.ad, so we want to add that to our etc/host/rp. So we'll add that, save that. Again, we will run. Now we can able to find that teleops has the impersonate right to the admin account. So we have the permission to dump all the users mailbox with their permissions. Let's dump all the mails from the domain administrator. We will target the inbox, send, and draft folders. For that, we are going to use one Python script. I will share in the documents. You can use that. It just dump the what are the mails are is stored in the inbox, dump, draft, and send and the users, and it's stored in save in the result.txt file name. So for that, we want to create a file nano dump.py. This is the mail ID. This is the script we are going to use. The target machines administrator and core ID. The user we are using this impersonate right of this tel ops. We want to replace the password of the tel ops. So we will replace that password, save it, and we will run this file. Now the script will extract all the files and stored in this directory. So we'll open and see what are the mails. Let's check again if the test is broken or not. Okay. It shows access denied. We'll try with this reading. Okay, I found the password. Just replace the wrong password. So we want to use this password. Now we'll try to dump the mails. Now it's working, it's dumping all the files. Now we can open that file. Here we can able to see the all the mails and some configurations mails, some internal mails to that infra. Like that, after the initial access, how we can able to perform the privilege escalation and lateral movement to the admin with that we found that the impersonate access in this machine. With that impersonate, how we are going get dumps all the mails from this machine. That sounds. I think you like this machine challenge. There is another path in this ADRTS. If you want to try now, you can purchase in the cyber warfare lab and try that lab. Another part, it will be more ADCS oriented and some phishing oriented. Thank you. Now, if you have any questions now, you can ask me in the chat. If you have any questions now, you can ask me in the questions in the platform. You can see the AD and dump PY files in the documents we will provide after the session over. You can get the recordings also. We use the certify tools we can download from it's a Python library. You can download that pip install certify. But nowadays the cloud is taking on the AD parts, but we want to know the basics and where it started now. So we also want to learn the normal AD. After that, we can able to go with the cloud-based antidote. These activities are stored in the logs, but Windows Defender will not stop these activities because we didn't upload any malicious because Windows Defender will analyze the malicious softwares in the machine, but it's stored in logs. For persistence, we can use a scheduled task. We can schedule a task with the malicious. With that, we can able to do the persistence, or we can able to add some normal users to the high privileged domain. With that, we can able to maintain the persistence. In this real world scenario, we want to know how the defenders are working, but it was a Windows 2018. So for that we can able to use AMSI trigger. With that tool we can able to find the what are the scripts are finded by AMSI. With that we can able to create a custom payload. With that we can able to bypass the defenders and evasions. It's for Windows. For other certified security providers, it will be differ. So now you can focus on privilege acceleration and lateral movements. After that, we can go with the defenders bypass. So, for AD on-premise, the approach will be different, but in cloud, the approach will be different. It was different. We can use AD connect to connect the normal AD with the cloud and environments, but the enumeration and the approach will be slightly different compared to the on-prem AD. This is not in the Infinity platform. It is a CSP portal. It's a ADRTS course. In the Infinity portal, there is many challenges. You can practice the challenges with the free challenges also there. You can practice in the Infinity portal. Yes, we can able to enable the MFA for NTLM authentication, but in ESC1 vulnerability, we don't need MFA. We can able to exploit that certificates service with the ESC1. It will be differ based on the enterprise use, how they configure the MFA, but we can bypass the MFA, but based on the configuration, it may be vary. But the certificate vulnerabilities, we can able to bypass the MFA. With that SPN's misconfiguration, we can do perform curve roasting attacks or privilege escalation by over privileged SPN accounts or SPN spoofing, service impersonate. We can do like these attacks. SPN is for service, but UPN is for users. Both are user bros, but UPN use LDAP intra ID. Purpose of the SPN is allow clients to authenticate to the service, but in UPN allows user to authenticate as themselves. Curb roasting remains effective, but because of mispatching, but because of its abuse, how the Kerberos is designed to work. Even properly patched Active Directory can still vulnerable if identify and credentials of hygiene are weak. So we can able to do the curb roasting. Okay, that's all the questions now. I may leave. Mm. Ransomwares are built with the vulnerabilities they found. You can use if you find any vulnerability in the machine now you can build the ransomware based on that vulnerability, or if you find any vulnerable driver you can use the driver to get the machine. Okay, let's I see you in the next webinar. Thank you for attending.